And welcome back to Scab Talk, everyone. Today's episode, we're doing a Tarkov news recap for this week. Balance changes, BSG at PAX. We got a few minor leaks. It's been a pretty light week in Tarkov. We got some other topics. Nvidia Smooth Motion, Tarkov parody song by none other than GigaBeef, which I'm super excited to talk about eventually.
Good stuff. Yes, there's not actually as much going on this week as last week. We've kind of had things have been settling down since the event, which people are sort of mixed about in post. I did go through and finish it, got all the discs. I quite enjoyed my time in whatever it was called. I keep wanting to call it like Tarkov Tales, but it's not. It's called like Tar something. I don't know. Anyway, it's that like fantasy kind of narrative driven, choice driven little mini game that they've got in the hideout that was going through. And as we said last week, or somebody corrected me in chat because I hadn't actually finished it, that it led through to the 1.0 announcement video. But you can go through it. There's lots of different ways to kind of get to the same endpoint. So it was quite fun to go through, and I like the music in it and stuff. So it was quite a nice little thing. But after that, there's not really anything else. There's nothing else has really happened, and we've just got these sort of balancing changes that BSG have put in. That we've got as our first point. So new balancing changes to hardcore wipe, adjusted the item prices at ref, and I believe this means that they've basically gone back to normal. I think, or at least I can't remember what they were before, but the stuff's got a lot cheaper. So the guns were 100 plus GP coins each, but even at level 4, I'm just looking now, even at level 4, like the M4, which is like basically a meta M4, that's like 91 GP coins now. The spear is like 81, the graphics card's gone back to 76. I guess actually I could probably just check on the let me just check on the wiki, because the wiki has the old values. Let me just see. So ref Tarkov, yeah, because the wiki guys for this wipe decided not to change anything because it would be too much effort to move everything over to something for the hardcore wipe. They move it all back. It's like so much changed, and especially if it wasn't going to be kept because it's like a special wipe, it wasn't really worth it. But yeah, they've got, so for level 1, something's happened to the broadcast, by the way.
Oh, but crap.
There's like a big black box over the top of
God damn it, I was hoping I hit the studio button hoping that would hide what the stuff I was doing in the background, but apparently not.
It's there's like a bit, it's still kind of stuck, I think, in the middle.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see if you can fix that. But anyway, so previously, according to the wiki, the OP SKS at level 1 ref was 28 GP coins. It is currently 46. So things look to be, I guess, kind of twice the price that they were, very roughly. Now the key tool was 65. It's now 121. The head mount doodad was 15, and now it's 36. So it looks about like, well, except for some items, but yeah, it's sort of double-ish. But it's not as crazy as it was. But a lot of the stuff's been rolled back now for the hardcore wipes. We don't really care anymore. What was the next part? So then we had reduced item requirements for the tasks to drip out part 1 and part 2. This kind of came off the back of a Pesterly tweet, actually. That was a good reminder. Let me see if I could pull that up, because he was complaining about some bits and pieces here and there. But he basically just said, would anyone legitimately have any issue with Battlestate Games removing drip out part 1 and part 2 from the game? They're annoying as hell to complete, and they screw with the cultist circles once accepted. So for those of you who don't know, I mean, I always feel like I'm ending up explaining this to somebody, because people go, why shouldn't you accept this quest, right? This is drip out part 1 is eliminate 100 raiders and hand in 40 pieces of Wartech brand equipment. Drip out part 2 is eliminate 100 rogues and hand in found in raid LBT brand equipment. You need well, it was 50, it's now 40. So the problem with these quests is that because they are quest, they're like they've got like a requirement in them for an item. When you go through the cultist circle and you get your 25% chance of a 6-hour timer, a lot of the time you end up with a bunch of Wartech equipment or a bunch of LBT equipment. You usually get the goons rigs, whichever one it's called. I mean, it's a good rig, but you just don't want that out of your quest item fulfillment section. You don't want it to give you 5. What are they even called? The ones they've got the 2x2s. They're like the really efficient rig that people take into labs sometimes. It's like the goons version of those.
I know what you're talking about. It's like brown-ish.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. But
2 big satchels on it, physically.
Yeah, exactly. So between that and the Wartech one, you end up just getting these rigs just over and over and over and over again in the cultist circle, which is really annoying. And I'm just on muscle memory, and I accept every quest, and I forget not to press it, and it comes up every time, and I press the button, and then I'm like, no, my cultist circle is now ruined for however many cycles before I get rid of this damn thing. So they said, oh, we've reduced the number, and it's gone from 50 to 40, which is still a really annoying number.
Yeah,
it's just like it's such a pointless quest. It doesn't even give you any XP. I think it unlocks. I think does it unlock like clothing or something? I can't remember, but it doesn't. There's no reward underneath. It doesn't give you any reward. I think it might just be like a piece of clothing or something. So it's not even like you get XP, or it's just like the most annoying quest ever. And so as Bestie says, could we just like remove it? PSG is just like best we can do is 10 less. So there you have it. So that's the drip out part 1 and part 2. So reverted the AI equipment to the values before the hardcore wipe. I'm actually not sure what changed. I didn't think they made any changes to the AI equipment, but maybe I'm wrong. And adjusted the Bitcoin farming time in the hideout, which again, like I'm still yet to get the Bitcoin farm. I'm actually quite close. It's sort of the next thing that I'm looking to try and do, because then it would just give me passive money without actually having to do anything, which is sort of what I'm looking for at the moment. Because I think a lot of people are kind of burnt out on this wipe, and like especially from a content perspective, it's quite it's just tough to produce anything. Like, what is there to talk about? It's hard. It's just hard. It's like, oh, there's extra requirements and stuff. But like, people know how to farm these things. You just got to do it. And there's a lot of people just are not playing. And so they're not watching the content. So it's just, it's a hard period for content creators. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm trying to get the Bitcoin farm up at least. So then I can just kind of passively farm money. We could just do whatever comes in the next 3 months for the various events and whatnot. And I'm halfway there. The T-plugs aren't a problem. I bought the VPX because you can buy the stuff off the Flea now of level 35. But PSUs are like 330k each. You need 20 for the Bitcoin farm. You need 20. So if you're going to buy them all, it's like 6 mil. CPUs, you need 30 of those, and they're like 40k each as well. So that's like quite a lot of money. It's just a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Which, because I'm still not moving over stuff from ref yet, I'm not level 42. I'm nearly there. I've got like 80k XP to go over to level 42. I mean, to be honest, I might just do it. I mean, with 80k, I may as well just get to 42, and like I said, I was going to, and then move the stuff over, because then it'd be easy, right? Then you could just use the arena money and then just buy the hideout items, and that'll be the end of it. So yeah, so I don't know. That's what I'm going to try and do there. But I mean, obviously, it's 10 times. It just takes so long without the Flea. But even with it, you got to have the cash for it. So that's the only change that they made, balancing wise, to the game. It's not really made much difference. I mean, most of the restrictions are gone anyway, outside of secure container, ammo, meds, blah blah blah, and the flea market being still at 35. They haven't moved it. I mean, we've had like lots of conversations about like what's good, what's not. I mean, I think 35 still is too high for the Flea, but the secure container thing, I wouldn't be sad if they kept it, especially just the ammo part. Like the meds thing I can kind of take or leave. Like, it's nice to be able to find meds on somebody if you kill them. So if you're like messed up and you're like, oh, I can go and take their meds, or I need an extra, whatever it might be, you can go and take their stuff, like a Celebre or something. But it's not the be all and end all, because usually, right, you take in enough meds so that you could sustain yourself through any number of fights. So it doesn't I don't think it really matters, but the ammo is important, right? Because like the meds, you can pretty much buy any of the meds that aren't allowed in there. You can buy them yourself if you want to just bring them, but the ammo, like some of the ammo, you can't really buy, and it forces people to risk it. So if they were going to keep one change, I probably would keep that one, the ammo not in the secure container thing. So you have to bring it like a stack with you on your body, because I think that is meaningful, and I do think it's quite nice. So on that basis, Nikita put up a post saying, and this is, I think a lot of people, I don't know, it just depends kind of how, it just sort of depends how you feel about this stuff. But guys, what do you want to test in the last wipe before release? And there's a lot of people, so there seems to be two general feelings about this. One which is, oh, let's do a unhardcore wipe kind of thing.
What does that even mean?
Well, we'll get into it, but like a full on like pre 12-12, everything goes like full Wild West.
Okay, yeah.
Old school Chad style Tarkov.
Yeah.
Which I'm not
Economy
entirely unsympathetic
simulator
to, kind of thing. And then the other side of people just being like, what are we testing now? Like, it's too late. Like, what's going on? Like, how can we test anything now? How's it even possible? The release is in like 3 months. What's going on here? Like, this is way too late to do any of this stuff. What have we been doing for the last 8 years? Beta testing what? Like, so we can change everything now? Like, what the frick is going on?
People...
So yeah, it's interesting. So
I just love the sentiment, like people freaking out. as if like BSG is some BSG in my mind anyways. BSG is just like going with the flow, like just taking the punches as they come, like you know what I mean. Like that, remember that screenshot last week where it was like all the papers on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, that was like that was like the roadmap. Like it's just like who the heck knows,
Yeah, I know it is pretty insane. So outside of people just being like, like what's happening here? How are we asking? I think I listened to the last podcast and Jesse put it really well on there. He was like, it's almost like turning up at this point in the stage and just being like, do we want guns in this game, guys? And it's like, what? Like, what are we talking about? It's it's sort of on that level. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, maybe
one.
it would be good to test some random stuff, or at least just to like play it and see what would happen. Tiggs had a really big list. I think his was the most viewed post underneath Nikita's, and he had a big list. And I think Hyper and a few other people retweeted it, being like, this is kind of what the old OG Labs Chad guys would like to have. And so he had reduce inertia by 70% or no inertia. I mean, there's a lot here to unpack, by the way. No weight restrictions. This is Tiggs.
Oh, okay.
Overly abundant loot on all maps. No skill exhaustion and 5 times skill leveling speed. No flea market restriction, including cases which can be sold. Lightkeeper fully unlocked for everybody. Old XP maybe. Remove instant kill hitboxes like the throat, neck, or nape. Add barters for PMC dog tags if people want to kill each other. Killer only spawns at Kibber like old times. Make prestige maybe not Kappa required because only 0.2% of players have prestige 1. It's still a grind even without Kappa. All the bosses on every map, but it rotates a couple of hours to different maps. Lab color cards spawn more on labs. VoIP mic open on death. Decrease matching time if possible. Old Val again, /PK06. Labs requires good gear to access. I don't know, maybe. Reduced aim punch. Higher ammo /armor on the traders, maybe. Like Reese Altin, Juk 6. Bloodhounds added back. Cultist bosses limited spawning. No jams /overheating. Labyrinth map on the selection screen. Thank you for considering all of this stuff. So, like, I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot there. And as I said, right, like this is sort of the Mega Chad kind of labs main, hoodie up kind of music playing kind of grinder sort of list, right? But I'm not unsympathetic to some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I do think the game has lost some of its charm with the sort of restrictions on, like you're not allowed to take this into raid, you're not allowed to take that into raid, and a lot of it was to combat RMT. I mean, the post before this, I think Peanut said a poker table in your hideout that friends can come visit, and you all could see each other and gamble rubles. And I was just like, oh my god, it's like RMT City, literally just like that was just like the easiest thing ever. So some of these things, are there for a reason for RMT and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like, how much does it actually help? Does it matter? Like, do we even care anymore? It's just it's tricky. So I am definitely sympathetic to like not being able to bring in cases and things, because genuinely some of the top tier, because part of EFT's fun is like knowing that some of these things are possible, even if you're not necessarily going to do them yourself. You know that you could, and some of the content around it is also really fun just to see. Right? It's like turning up in raid with like a scav junk box. And like fill it with as much stuff as you can, or go in with like a thick items case, right? It's like a huge risk, but huge reward if you manage to pull it off. Going out a raid with like 100 kilograms, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like you can't do that anymore because like the cases don't spawn. You're not allowed to bring the cases in. And it does, like, there is some magic that's been lost because that like that upper level of like, I'm actually just a complete Tarkov degen and I'm willing to take these like uber risks, just do it for the bit, like that's like you can't even do that anymore. And I do think there has been something sort of removed from the top end.
Yeah, I remember like Trow doing playing reserve with a scav junk box in his backpack, and then I think like Tweak, I think was his name.
Yeah,
he did one on like interchange or something, and yeah, I mean there is some fun shenanigans back in the day, but yeah, I mean it wasn't like remotely practical, but at the same time it was like, well, if you're cheating, this kind of makes things a little complicated, because now it's like you don't just have a backpack, like a couch backpack. You have a couch backpack with like a backpack inside of it that holds a junk box, and another backpack that holds another junk box. It's just like, I don't know. That one's tough to square around, but I I mean, I would have to like see everything Tick said, but I heard a lot of things that I liked, a few that I didn't. Like one was like
Yeah.
aim
So,
punch. Can we please
mhm.
just make that a little bit more? I know they tweaked it a little bit, but yeah, that one's really annoying.
Yeah, sometimes it does feel it feels kind of inconsistent. I've actually felt it more. I mean, you would do, but I felt it more in Arena. And sometimes I'm just like, man, like some of these guns, I don't know whether. And some people have said to me like, oh no, sometimes it's like worse. Some of the servers you join. I mean, this is like Tarkov, classic Tarkov, anecdotal,
Yeah.
like whatever, right? Like it's just unprovable. But sometimes it does feel like you get hit by. I don't know, the 45 vector. I know it does actually change per caliber. I remember they did change that. If you get hit by the 45 vector and you're just like, and like the gun's just going everywhere, and you're like, holy crap! Like this really does feel a bit
Mm-hmm.
nuts. And it's not even like it's not really just like it's not a balancing thing, really. It's not just like, oh, we're trying to make up for some other thing. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
So it just makes you feel like as soon as they're shooting you, you just can't shoot back. You can't aim properly. It's just like painful. But there's a lot of people in this list or under this tweet who are calling for like no inertia or reduced inertia. And I feel like we're coming full circle. Like we talked about this like 3 years ago, and again, I'm not entirely unsympathetic. Like when inertia came in, my original take, and I think we sort of both agreed on this, was that it was. I mean, it was terrible when it was first implemented, but it was kind of needed for the pace of the game that BSG wanted. But
Yeah.
that it was going to reduce the skill cap, like definitely. The way people could just like fly around. If you were, an uber
Yeah.
gamer, you could be like god tier on movement in EFT, and you had to be skilled to do it. And it did reduce the skill cap for between the top players and sort of the average player, definitely. But the game kind of played for everybody else, for the average player, the game just played like ass without any inertia at all, because it was just like AD spam around walls and
It's
doors,
so
and it was
broken.
just rubbish. It was just rubbish. So that one is really tough. I'm not sure about that one. I mean, maybe they could reduce it a bit more, but like getting rid of it completely, like reductions by 70%, like I'm just not sure if that's gonna do it for the average player. Right? It's just gonna. I feel like it'll just devolve the gameplay back to the way it was, where it's just whoever can like spam AD fast enough. It ends up just being a crapshoot between those two people. And yeah, it's sort of a skill issue, but you can't necessarily just balance the game for like the top guys. Got to think of its impact on everybody else. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think the problem for me is I feel like this may not be necessarily a bad thing in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like the way they've put it in, it just feels pretty bad to play with.
Mm,
Like there's a certain learning curve that's not like intuitive. Like the
yeah,
circle strafe thing's kind of like I don't think it's intended, but the point I'm trying to get at is like it's almost like the philosophy is like, well, if we make it shit, then that will fix all the problems of people complaining. Because then it's like, the AD spam admittedly was completely busted, but like in some way, if you like make it, it's like I'm trying to think of a good example. It's like, okay, you guys can play chess, but you have to play chess wearing a cast, and like like it
yeah,
sucks to pick up the pieces like that and move around, but it makes the playing field a little bit more balanced, and like I don't know, it like does something to it to where it's like everyone has to deal moving through the mud, and if you take that away, then you get like the extreme spectrums. Like if you put like your dad played the game not too long ago, right? And like he doesn't really play these types of games, so like he doesn't really know, like this is just like his thing, so like probably him moving around, he's like, whoa, this feels amazing, like I'm so immersed, whatever. But like if you take like an average gamer, probably be like, this is a little weird, you know what I mean? It's just like I feel like it's sort of like that experience, I think, if
yeah.
that
It's
makes any
strange.
sense.
I'm like looking back to 2020, people being like, what's everyone's thought about this 80 spam? Everything looks so arcadey. I'm watching clips of streamers. All they seem to do, press 80. You've even seen a few that constantly press 80 the entire game. You know, I read they're going to implement something that makes movement more realistic. It's so funny how we kind of come full circle about this stuff.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of people would find it miserable going back to 80. There's a reason why.
Yeah, no, I don't think that can, I mean, uh whenever I used to edit for Airwing, one of the back when I started, it wasn't no inertia, and then
Mm,
a few. um, a few, years went by, and then we went, we had like a watch of some of the older stuff, and everybody made a comment is like, God, inertia was so broken back then, and it's like, yeah, I mean, no, inertia was so broken back then, and it's like, yeah, the movement you could do, and like, I mean, it's just uncanny. Like it's like you just have like free form. As soon as you press the button, you go in the opposite direction. It's just so busted. Should not be like
Yeah.
this.
So yeah, I don't know whether there can ever be a middle ground between these things. Really, it's so tricky. It's
Yeah.
so tricky. The weight restrictions thing is interesting. I mean, I do because this is the funny thing about EFT, right? I don't think the weight restrictions need to be as harsh as they are. Like part of the fun is getting out with a load of gear, and like I don't mind there being. I'm not sure if I want to get rid of the weight restrictions completely. I don't know actually. I'm not really sure because like part of it's like making that choice between I can't just nest and nest and nest and nest and nest a million things and be 100 kilograms and then just like run like normal. I do think that's probably a bit much. I feel like there probably is a middle ground though where you can carry quite a bit more without it just destroying you. Like you even get to even if you get up to sort of I've had a few raids quite recently. I've done all right on either on Lighthouse or other places, customs as well. But and as soon as you get above 50, 60, 65 kilograms or whatever, like you
Hmm.
just can't you can't even it's that tipping point where you can't even walk without stamina going down.
Yeah.
And that could probably be higher because sure, I don't really want you just to be able to run out of the raid like normal with stamina regenning like normal with 100 kilograms on. But I feel like I would like my immersion wouldn't be broken if you could always walk and have your stamina go up at least a bit. I feel like that. I don't think there should really be a point where your stamina is going down when you're walking. It's like what bit's gamey? What is it immersive to do that? Does it matter for the game? Like, does the realism? Does it even matter? Like, who cares really where the weight threshold is? Like, how many people? Unless you're actually doing this stuff all the time, how many people actually know? Like, well, I can only walk for a little bit with 70. And to be honest, like military guys go around with 70 kilograms all the time and do like big long marches and stuff. So you could argue that like RPMC is actually pretty like weak, compared to
Hmm.
a real soldier, for example. Those guys like carry an enormous amount of kit. And so I feel like you could easily make it so that your stamina never goes down while you're walking. So yeah, just walking out of the raid is already it just needs to be something different to the norm. You're not just run until your stamina bar's down, you wait for it to go back up, and then you run again. That's like normal Tarkov movement. So if it's like, oh, it is slower, or you can walk but it doesn't go up. That's like in the most extreme case. That's still already quite different to how we normally interact with the movement system. And for me, it's like you just want to feel the pressure of the weight of the kit, right? That you've
Yeah.
got. And it's like, okay, well, I can't just like run all the time like I could before, but at least I can walk. I don't have to do this like and the horrible crawl thing, right? Because that's the circumvention, because crawling doesn't lose any stamina, so you're better off like sprinting and then crawling to regain, and then sprinting and then crawling to regain. It's just it just feels like it is too much, I think. So I'm like, again, I don't mind about that. I actually don't mind. I mean, getting rid of it completely, maybe a bit far for me, but make it have an impact. So you're like, oh, I can feel the impact of it, but it's not like now it's just a pain. I actually may not even get out now at this point because it's
Yeah.
so restrictive. That's sort of where it borderlines for me on not being as interesting as it could be.
I think for me the biggest issue specifically about the weight is the thresholds. Like there is a
Yeah.
scale in terms of like the penalties, but like once you tip over into like the yellow and then like
Mm.
the red, like it's like you just acquire these new debuffs, and for me that kind of makes it like too breakpointy, which is classic Tarkov. But I feel like if it was more linear and less like, because some of the linearity doesn't seem to really matter that much. Just like, oh, I can
Yeah.
run a little bit less further, but then you hit the next breakpoint, and then it's like, oh, I'm not gaining stamina anymore. Well, this it's like your
Yeah, I
base.
just have to like stand still now.
Yeah, like then you start doing these, completely immersion breaking things. Like, God, I remember on the shoreline hills, we would drop our backpacks and try to get them to roll down the hills.
Roll them down,
Yeah,
like
it's like so dumb, so dumb. But yeah,
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, so like, yeah, no flea restrictions. I mean, no flea restrictions is such a can of worms. That one is such a can of worms. I mean, there's a reason why they were brought in the first place.
Yeah.
What would that even do now? Like, so the problem is these things aren't always, they're not the same now as when they first were in place. It's a bit like we were talking about hatchlings for the previous wipe with the non-fan in raid stuff. And like, you could still sell on the flea market if it's not fan in raid. And so it's like, oh, well, that was brought in to get rid of hatchlings, but then will hatchlings even be there now? Like, the game's different.
I
And then
think
we
if
didn't really see that many.
Yeah, I think if anything, sorry to cut you off, the hardcore wipe just
Mm.
like fundamentally prove that progression is good. And if you do this flea market thing where, you can buy anything and sell anything, then like you basically eliminate progression. Like progression then becomes optional, and it's like, I don't know. For me, that part breaks the. It's like it is a nice. Um, it's like playing with like cheats on. It's like it's fun to play around with, but then like you're really kind of like cheaping yourself out of like an experience.
Yeah. I think so personally. It's like what we talked about with the hardcore wipe, where some of the good stuff that came out of it with no flea, for example, every item feels like an item. It feels like it's useful for what it's used for. It's various barters, it's hideout stuff, quests, whatever it might be, like actual use. Whereas with the flea, it's like everything's just a pile of money behind the image, and that's really it. Barters are
Yeah,
just flea market purchases with extra steps.
yeah,
Progression. We get to the late game within like very very short time. Um, it's just I don't know. It just destroys that early game feel. The white progression, which we've been slowly increasing in length and trying to get that early white feel for longer, which has been working. That has been working. I think it's easy to
yeah,
forget how different that has made the game feel and how good that's made the game feel, as opposed to like everyone having BP on like week 3, which is how it used to be and
yeah,
isn't the case anymore. And I do think that it means that there's like a wider assortment of gear that's being used. There's a wider assortment of armor and whatever that we see right now. Like the weapon balance at the moment, I actually think is pretty good. And you see all sorts of people using all sorts of things. A lot of 5 for 5, obviously, because that's what people are finding in raid, because that's the hardcore wipe. But like last wipe, you saw all sorts of different guns being used. So I don't think it's staging that progression. I just don't think it's a bad thing. I think going back to the old way, it's a bit like the end of wipe. Everything's 1 ruble. It's like, okay, fine, you can like mess around in the sandbox for a bit, as you said, but like you cheapen yourself out in the progression, which is really what Tarkov is about for most people.
hmm
And yes, there's a small minority of people who are going to get level 42 in like the first 4 days, but most people it takes them forever to get to level 42. It takes them half the wipe.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't even get there, and that's the experience that most people kind of have. And the way that the flea market is right now, I feel like we've come to a middle ground where you've got good enough stuff on there, like the way it was previously. I actually am not afraid to go back to the way it was, 5.6A1 and stuff on the flea. I feel like it was a good. I feel like last wipe was quite a good middle ground because that's like it allows you to compete.
when you
But maybe
say
you have the flea locked for a bit. So you have the flea locked. So last wipe was like you have the flea locked for a bit, like 2 months or something, and then it opens up, and then you've got things like up to class 4 and like up to M856A1 ammo on there, and that's the deal. And it's like a catch up mechanic. It allows people who are low level to skip ahead a bit to sort of keep up and like buy that stuff if they want to, but it's sort of expensive. I feel like there's a balance there that kind of worked out with not
yeah,
having it at the beginning and then having it later. But yeah, otherwise it just if everything's then purchasable, it just I do just think it like cheapens the whole experience. As you say, it makes progression optional, which is just a bit of a problem for this game. It's like this game is the journey, not the destination, in a lot of ways. And
for
if you could
sure.
just, as you say, if you're playing on cheat mode where you can have anything you like at any well, the game has no point really anymore, except for the particular brand of player that plays it for its own sake, just to accumulate more and to beat people and win just for its own sake, which is fine. Like some people could do that, but a lot of people want like a guided progression through the game. Like we saw at the beginning of the hardcore wipe with no quest, people just like, I don't know what to do, like I'm lost. A lot of people want to see that progression, feel it, and that's where they get the dopamine. And without that, I think the game loses a lot of its allure for a lot of people.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I think all things considered, where we've gotten to in terms of like their balance in the flea market, I think it's like it's probably as good as we're gonna get, and it's probably the best version we got so far. Like, it's sure it's not perfect, and
Hmm.
there's like little inconsistencies, yada yada, but like given the entire history, it's like we've come a long way. So yeah, I think it's probably the best middle ground we've gotten thus far.
Yeah, I think so too. Along with my other view that it is the compromise between PvP like push players versus like either new inexperienced or milsimi type guys is like it's just this compromise is not doable, as this wipe has proven as well, and that what we had before was probably the best middle ground to keep everybody at least happy enough to play and feeling okay. I'm intrigued about. I mean, I thought this for about make this is the last one I'll pick up from this, then we can move on. But like maybe make prestige not kappa required because only 0.2% of players have prestige one. I do think it's certainly something that I've thought of for a while, and I've said before, I think it's a shame that they did it this way.
I think the only
I do
other
think that
one
it is a shame.
kind of along the similar lines is Lightkeeper fully unlocked for everyone. I feel like that's just such a
Mm.
missed opportunity. Like just to like have like maybe we never get a lighthouse rework, but should they do unlock Lightkeeper for everyone, it would just like kind of make the map a little less funnily.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like BSG have screwed up Lightkeeper. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
the ideas, all the good ideas that have been over the years about, our Lighthouse and he's going to be the in-raid trader and you're going to go to him to get stuff, like maybe endgame things and whatever. And it's just like the stuff that the way that you get to him is just obnoxious. The way that you then interact and deal with him is just stupid. The actual assortment of things that he can do for you is like completely pointless. It's like at every possible opportunity, they've like really screwed up Lightkeeper in my opinion. Unless he's fundamental to 1.0 and they just wanted him in the game to have him there and test him for the time being, they just leave him there for now, and they're going to completely overhaul how he works. Maybe, but like in the current iteration, I mean, it's just he may as well not be in the game in my opinion,
Mm.
and it's as you said, such a huge waste opportunity. You can sell like super stuff like these guys are asking for in some ways, VSTs and whatever. You can sell that stuff on him because it's not part of the normal. Like you have to go and actually do a thing. And
Yeah.
again, it is a shame he's on Lighthouse as well because it means you have to go and play a Lighthouse raid to go and see him, which is like the worst. Like I don't step on that map unless I really have to. Um,
Yeah.
because the problem is, right, it's not even the case of like, oh well, you go spawn in, you're at Southern Road, you run over, you go and grab the item, and then you like get out. The problem is you're going to end up spawning like in some godforsaken part of the beach, and then you just think like, oh my god, and then you just have to like slow. It's just like every single. I can't even think of like a GIF or a meme or something where you're just like, it's just all snipers training. It's like the BF6 memes of people being like smile for the camera, and it's all just like the sniper glint. It's like that. That's the meme I'm thinking of. And you're like trying to walk along the beach, and it's just like
Yeah.
all people sniping you with AK-12s trying to get prestige, and oh god, it's just like it's horrible.
Yeah.
Or doing shooterborn, right? It's just horrible. It's a terrible, terrible experience. So the whole thing, the way that you get to him, the way you interact with him, what he gives you, the whole thing sucks. So he needs to be like fundamentally reworked. Otherwise, they just wasted their time with him, in my opinion. It's a pain. It really is. It really is a pain.
POV, me camping the corner spawn, waiting for you to walk by because I know you have to come this way. uh,
Honestly. So yeah, so lots of people, asking about lots of things. A lot of people saying, remove inertia. There's other people saying like Sheaf saying just give everyone max stats. Axel saying as well. I mean, Axel's always got pretty good takes. Max out the skills just to check if the elites work correctly, and give everyone some experience of them. Allow people to bring in big cases. That kind of stuff. So it's like it's interesting. It's interesting. So we'll see what they do, if they do anything.
someone says to not have bugs.
Do not have, but I mean, yeah, okay.
Hal
All right.
FPS. Shout out to Hal.
Yeah, I love if you scroll down, there's a very bad scav like screenshot. I think it must be from SPT or something, but it's quite funny because the cases do actually have like in-game models because they used to be able to either bring them in or they used to spawn in marked rooms or whatever. So like the thick items case is actually massive in the game, right? It's a big box, so they do actually have real models, so you can put them in quite easily because you used to be able to have them in the raid, which is quite funny. Okay, enough about that. So BSG are in Seattle right now. They've got a bunch of different things. This is PAX West that they're at. I don't know if there's anything going on. I think there was some rumors that they were going to be like teasing stuff or doing some announcements. I'm not really sure what they're doing there. There's a couple of pictures just of like merchandise and like killer helmets and this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see. They are there from today. So this is currently, for those who are listening to this afterwards, this is Friday the 29th. So they're there as of today until September the 1st. So we'll just have to check out and see if there's anything that comes out of that that's interesting. Or if anybody goes to PAX West, let us know if they did anything cool there. I know they've got a whole bunch of other ones. They've got like Paris Games Week coming up. They've got like 4 different things I think we mentioned last time. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. We've had a couple of sort of Nikita leak, sort of tease type things coming through. Nikita posted a billboard, which was it basically just says I'll scroll down to find it. It says, like evacuation. The residents of the city of Tarkov are informed due to the announcement of a state of emergency, it's necessary to proceed to the following evacuation points: the sanatorium, Azure Coast, the shopping centre, Ultra. And it says follow the instructions of authorised representatives. So this is a poster or a big billboard, which is apparently in Ground Zero. So I think there's the fire in the road is on Ground Zero somewhere.
Yeah.
And I saw a post by Rima who he knows the maps inside out because he's been like building every single model for every single map. So he's like, yeah, this is definitely on Ground Zero. And so this is presumably just after the big crunch of everything kicks off and stuff. So whether this is more of the story or not, we will see. A lot of people thought this was an event, by the way. So he posted this and everyone was just like,
I could see that.
Event.
Yeah.
At Ultra Mall and like Sanatorium, but it looks like it's just part of like the background like build-up lore. So we didn't actually get anything from this, unfortunately. And then the other piece was an animation of our good old friend, Mr. Prapor. He's just kind of vibing with a coffee or whatever it is that he's doing. I mean, it looks a bit like sort of some kind of quest dialogue thing. Maybe he says like brings you a document, or I don't really know. So it's who knows? Who really knows? It looks kind of odd. I mean, I know it's like a video of a screen, isn't it? But it's an odd. It sort of just looks a bit strange to me.
It could be an engine related thing, like maybe that's how there's some engines that characters look particular. I forget if it's Unity or if it was like Unreal. I was thinking, I was listening to. No, I think it was id Tech actually. It's like one of their older engines I'm thinking about. But anyways, I know what you mean. Like I kind of see it, but I think it's probably a little bit of the phone recording of a like why guys, I need to get a reel for Twitter. It's like, let me just pull out my phone real quick and record the screen. It's like, just use the screen recorder.
He loves it. Nikita loves just posting up the phone pic. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. I when I first saw it, I thought it was like AI to begin with, but I think it is actually real.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of hard to tell the phone quality. Just like,
Yeah, I know. There's like some of the old ones. You just reminded me. So Nice Guy actually retweeted a really old post from Nikita asking Nikita like, "Is this still planned?" Remember that Molotov one that he posted that one time?
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like the lowest. It's like It's like nearly like recorded with real cam or whatever it is in the corner.
Like it's 512 kilobytes of bit rate. Like the
yeah, and you can see the chunks. You can see the encoding blocks on the screen. It's like horrible. But like we never saw the Molotov. Like that never arrived. And interestingly, that
Giga.
one was in third too. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was coming to Arena.
Yeah, because wasn't an Arena like map that they were doing it on or something?
I think so. Is it on Airpit or something?
Yeah,
I think it might have been. Yeah. Because that could be kind of cool on Arena specifically to like block off routes and stuff. That's why they have it in CS and games like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that just hasn't come through. I mean, we know what BSG like about timing and everything else, but we've only had one battle pass for Arena. A lot of people are waiting for another one. which we thought really would have come by now, but it doesn't seem to have. The weapon skins from that battle pass going into the base game, which also hasn't happened as of yet. We've got like random things like that Molotov, which
Yeah.
haven't come through. It's like
1.0.
everyone's just kind of like,
That's gonna be my answer for everything.
it's all coming in 1.0.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah.
Guys, what about that gun, the Scorpion Evo 9000 that Nikita leaked back in 2016? 1.0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We will see. We will see. I mean, in terms, there's like one other thing. Let me just go and check actually. So Nikita, if I just look at his replies, because he replies to like a few people here and there. Someone said, Nikita, please fix PvE ref offers and quest keys. He just said yes. And and then someone said to him, this is on the what do you want us to test? And someone said, depends how much content you're saving for release. And he said, new content is for release version only. Whatever that means. I don't even know what that
I don't
means.
know what that means. I love Nikita.
Yeah. All of this came about because I actually forgot that this happened. Now I'm just scrolling through his replies. I actually forgot about some of this stuff. Because a lot of this came back from like Deadly Slob saying it'd be cool if we had wipe with zero restrictions. He said, "What do you think?" I'm just asking.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, with the Prepare for Escape like 1.0 trailer, Real Moag said, "Good sir, any chance you'll do a no limits OG wipe before the release, just like the old days, loot everywhere, access the ammo access, no restrictions?" And he said, "Yep." Like this like random reply to somebody. So this is kind of like what kicked it all off, I think. And then he said, "Oh, what do you want to test?" So people are just like, "Let's go full chat mode." It's kind of how it went. It's mad. Like he's just sort of saying all sorts of stuff. Like even on the release one, someone asked him like, "Is Tarkov ever going to come to consoles?" And he said, "We have plans for that later." It's just like, really? He's planned. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The only other like Tarkov specific thing that I wanted to cover before we move on to like some other things was the advanced AI bug. I've not fought against that many raiders and bosses and boss guards recently because I've actually had like a few stream breaks because of one reason or another. I've just not been able to be on as much, so I've just not played against them as much. But a lot of people are reporting that like raiders, rogues, guards, that kind of thing, like anything that's like not a scav, I've got some crazy like insta kill, hit stuff going on where they just like one shot you, which apparently is still happening supposedly. As I said, this is all hearsay. I've not seen it. I don't visit other people's streams really. I just literally haven't had time, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know. I after the first kind of rumors of this appeared, I did fight some in reserve and I didn't have that problem. And then I like fought some guys the other day who killed Partisan like literally yesterday, and they killed him no problem. So I don't really know. Like Partisan is a bit of a funny one anyway because he doesn't auto lock onto anyone necessarily straight away. He's a bit weird. But I'm not sure. Maybe that's still in. I don't really know. So just be careful around bosses and guards if you are thinking of going to kill them because they might one tap you. I think it's something to do with this like tracing you through the walls, but I don't really know. I'm not sure. Just to clarify something from before, Ash in chat has said apparently Pesty followed up on the response of Nikita. Apparently there is confirmed no more wipes before 1.0. So maybe we're just going to unlock everything and test the stuff because he basically said like someone said, "Are we going to do like one more wipe, OG wipe?"
Okay.
And he said before 1.0, and he said yes. Apparently Pesty followed up and he said, actually no, we're not going to have any more actual wipes. So maybe it just means they're just going to like open stuff up as like an event. Maybe everything's open, everything's freely accessible. I think it would be fine as an event. It doesn't need to be a wipe per se. I don't know when it would come. Maybe it'd be the last 2 months or something. Maybe the last month. I don't really know. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really know. It's all hearsay. Who can read through the Nikita's tea leaves of replies on Twitter to figure out what the hell's going on? Definitely not me. Definitely not me.
Classic.
Yeah. Okay. So Tarkov adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
I have been testing, or I was looking into this yesterday. Well, and the day before, actually. I've been testing the new Nvidia driver. So I have been waiting for... Actually, I guess it's technically the Nvidia app. So I've been waiting for... Apparently, this has been around for a bit, but it was in like the studio driver, like the beta drivers. You had to use Nvidia profile inspector and all of this crap, which like, A, I can't be bothered to do, and B, a lot of other people won't be bothered to do either. They want to do it when it's actually just in the app that you can just easily do it without having to mess about with stuff. So there was a new version of the Nvidia app, and as part of the patch notes of the Nvidia app, it says Nvidia app also includes tons of enhancing experience features and experience enhancing features. One of the most recent additions is the ability to upgrade games and apps with support for DLSS 4 with multi-frame generation and improved DLSS AI models in the graphics program settings for each supported title. And so basically, you now can, within the Nvidia app itself, you can put on driver level frame generation if you have a 40 series card or above, because you used to be able to do this with a 50 series card, but if you have a 40 series card now, they have allowed Nvidia's like 1 time, or I guess it's 2 times frame generation at a driver level for any game. So it doesn't need to be supported in the game for you to use it. So that means that you can technically do it for Escape from Tarkov. So I was intrigued because these things are always a trade-off, right? They're a trade-off between, the terribleness of frame gen and the terribleness of streets.
So sorry, remind me again. This is, you said DLSS?
Well, it's part of DLSS 4.
Okay.
It's part of the the update to DLSS 4, but it effectively just allows you in the Nvidia app. So for example, if I go into Nvidia app into graphics, and then I scroll down to wait, where's Tarkov gone? Oh, there it is. if I go into Tarkov and I scroll right to the bottom, there's a whole bunch of driver settings that you can now use. So as previously in there, you could do stuff like, this is a game now, so you don't need to do it anymore, but you could change the profile, exactly. Right. So you could change the profile and say, I would like to use profile K, for example. That's on DLSS override model presets. You can go into that. Mine on super resolution is use global on which is the 3D application setting. But in there, for each game, you can individually, or you can globally set it now. You can individually specify preset A, B, C, D, E, F, J, and K. For those of you who aren't, uber Nvidia, nerds looking at the stuff all the time, and I'm no like uber expert. There's a lot of people who know a lot more about this than me, but basically the old models of DLSS, I think we used to be on D. That was the one when Tarkov originally added DLSS. We were on D. So presets A through F are the old style, the old model of DLSS. So they got progressively better up till F, and then J and K were the new transformer models that allowed you to basically just improve the look of DLSS by quite a significant margin for a small performance cost, which sort of depends on your older GPU. But anyways, it's a lot better. So it was something like preset K, like what was it? It was like preset K performance was supposed to look something like preset D quality or something. Like it was a big step up for like a small incremental change in power. Like if you were on a 50 series, I don't think it changed anything. 40 series had a minor hit, and the 30 series had like a bit of a bigger hit because it didn't necessarily have all of the inbuilt hardware to do it as efficiently as the new ones did. But anyway, under this whole section, you've now got a new option called, and again, this is if you have a 40 series. So you couldn't do this previously. You could only do it if you had a 50 series, but now they've rolled it back to the 40s. You can now turn what is called smooth motion on.
Now, is this Is this the feature? I remember seeing this in one of their Nvidia, promotions or whatever. It was like, it was. I think it was maybe the finals they were showcasing the game on. I think we even showed it on stream, but it would like take the edges of the screen and like fill in the gaps of like you would move your crosshair and like it was like moving it. It was like generating the fake frames, and I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This one is just straightforward frame gen. So at least it's quite, at least that's quite straightforward. It's just I know there's so much to it. And I've been looking at this over the past 2 days and just like some of the stuff it gets, like you can really delve into the weeds with this, like in a serious way. This is the bog standard frame gen where your GPU makes a frame, your GPU makes a second frame. It then sends both of those frames to the AI section, whatever you would call it. I can't remember what you'd even call that, but the AI model, it builds the frame that is interpolated between. It then shows frame 1, then it shows the interpolated frame, and then it shows frame 2. So you end up with twice the frame rate. Now this is the issue. Like it's always the problem with frame gen, that because you have to build, you have to create 2 frames and then do a load of stuff and then insert that frame in the middle and then play them for the for the user. It adds a lot of latency, right? This is the issue that we found in Grey Zone Warfare when that was first coming out, and the frame gen in that was also not that good either. And it really just you actually just get input lag on your mouse, and it feels horrible. Yeah. It's fine if you're playing single player games because, well, if you can tolerate it. There's people have different tolerances to this stuff, right? Some people don't care. Some people don't even notice. Some people don't notice the input delay. It depends on the game. It depends on how sweaty you are. Honestly, it really does depend on just your own personal preference. But you can basically get the appearance of a smoother game at the expense of some latency. Is the idea?
So this is basically now, 2 extra FPS in theory.
It should be 2x, yeah. So if you were getting, theoretically, if you were getting 50 frames before, you'd be getting 100 FPS now. And 100 FPS looks a lot better to the observer than 50. Whether it plays a lot better is a bit subjective because of the extra latency and stuff. In some games, it doesn't matter that much. If you're playing who knows, some single player RPG, it probably doesn't matter. But if it's improving the cinematic experience, then fine. If you're playing twitchy shooters, it's a lot more problematic. Because the input lag it can be quite bad. So I've been testing it, right? So I've been testing it. I really wanted to do a piece about it to be it's not necessarily great, but here's a use case for it. If you're low FPS on the streets, you can at least yes, there's a bit of input lag, but if you're playing PvE maybe, then you could actually play it and it's more enjoyable. But as of yet, I am unable to find a way to make it work in any sensible fashion. It's just garbage.
It works, but
it works, but it's so finicky. Because the problem is nowadays there's so many things going on. It's actually, and I actually need to do more work on this as well. And I'm going to do some more stuff on this because I'm sure that maybe I'm just doing something wrong. I went through quite a lot of stuff with chat, people giving me different suggestions. We tried lots of things. But the long and the short of it is that it didn't give me that much more FPS, bizarrely. My base frame rate got absolutely annihilated by turning it on, which was quite sad. So in a lot of the maps, I ended up with a lower frame rate than if I just didn't have it on, even with the 2x, which is insane, right? So I'd be playing woods with 110, 130 FPS, and then I'd turn the stupid thing on, and I'd have 50 FPS. So then I'm technically 2xing that to 100, and I'm it's lower than normal, even with the fake frames. This is actually insane. So there's that. Second part of it, so that the rule with frame gen is that if there's frame gen in the game, unless there's a bug or something, if frame gen is built into the game, you should use the frame gen that's in the game.
Yeah.
Because when the game is assembling a frame, right? If the frame gen is in that process, you can tell the frame gen AI model what's a HUD element. You can tell it which direction should you expect the next frame to be. It gives you these things like motion vectors, so you can tell it which parts of the screen are in motion in different ways. It's sort of inside the game engine, so it has a lot of more understanding about what's what. The problem with, and it's a driver level frame gen sounds cool because it's super low level, but the problem is it's after the frame's been created. So it's like any old AI model, right, where it's just been given the picture.
Yeah.
So it has no, other than what's built into its training, it doesn't have any inherent knowledge of what's a UI element, what isn't, what's part of the game, how is it moving. It doesn't know any of this stuff. It just gets 2 frames and has to somehow try and make some middle ground between the two. So when you've got it on, bits of the UI, you can see these frames appearing where all the lines are waving around, and you mouse over for open, breach, whatever it is in game, and that menu garbles for a quick second. It's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty, and it's quite off-putting in quite a few ways. Certain areas look completely fine. Certain areas, when you're running up, things tends to be like steps and like textures that sort of like very like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Anything that's quite well, it seems to happen more often if there's like a regular pattern, and it just doesn't seem to know like where to put it. And so the whole screen will just be going like, it's like the whole thing's just like vibrating and shimmering. It's like really, really weird. So that wasn't great. So it didn't look very good. It didn't give me any better frames, and so far I've basically been unable to get it to work. So other people have said that it has been working. For me, I've got even weird stuff like if you use the Nvidia overlay, which I thought would work properly, that doesn't even show me the FPS that it's actually running at. It's only showing me the base FPS. Where everyone else was telling me, no, it's showing me the actual. It shows like if you turn on FPS 1 in game, it says like 50, and on the Nvidia overlay it says 100. And I'm like, well, it's not doing that for me. It's showing 50 on both, but I can see it's on because it's like garbling the menus, so I know that it's on because it doesn't do that with it off. So I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but like, and I really wanted something to work with this. But the problem is, as I said, there's so many levers. We've still got all the normal DLSS stuff. Apparently these things are compatible. So I originally, when I was starting it on, I was like, well, I've got it on DLDSR with like 1.78 times multiplier super sampling, combined with DLSS quality, combined with the fact that I've got multi-monitor setup, combined with the fact that I've got it in borderless windowed because it's a Unity game, and if you have it in full screen, there's some bug at the moment with the old version of Unity they're using, which lowers your FPS, and I can't alt tab, so that's a bigger thing for me. Plus the fact that I don't have an actual G-Sync monitor, I've got like a FreeSync monitor with like, with G-Sync support. And then people are like, oh, but with G-Sync, you need to cap your FPS to, it's like you got to do it's whatever your frame rate is times by the frame rate divided by 4060 whatever minus 3. That's the frame cap you have to. But then another part of it's just like, no, you need uncapped frames or it doesn't work. And I'm just like, it's just a miasma of like information and like hearsay about what you need to do. And oh no, this needs VSync on, and that bit needs to have reflex off, and no, you can't have a low latency on. And I was like, I thought these were the same thing. And people were like, no, they are different, but like they do the same thing but in different ways. I'm just like, oh, I just can't keep up. So it's just it's a bit, I don't know, I'm a bit tired of it, honestly, because I really wanted to like have a use case, and because I used it quite a lot in Grey Zone Warfare and it was actually quite good this wipe, I was like, man, maybe this will be okay. But the fact that there's a lot of latency, the image quality just looks crap. I mean, it's not built in the game, right? This is the difference. Grey Zones 1 is built into Grey Zone Warfare, so it's a lot cleaner. Like, I didn't see any of the artifacting that you see with this thing, and it just doesn't seem to really work. So maybe it's bugged. Maybe I'm bugged. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. I need to do some more work on it. But at the moment, I cannot see a single conceivable use case for it. Like either my game has enough FPS that I don't need it, or my game has low enough FPS that it makes FrameGen not work properly. Which is like, it's like this. It's like FrameGen is like cursed inherently. It's like, well, if your frame rate is too low, it doesn't work because you have loads of latency because your frame rate's not high enough. And it's like, isn't that the whole freaking point though? Like this tech is like the wrong way around. You can only use it if you've got 100 FPS already. It's just like, well, then what's the point? Like just turn the damn thing off. It's like, I don't know. So it's just cursed, and I can't. I just like looking through all these settings, and I'm just like, which combination of like magical spells do I have to conjure up to like make this technology do what I want it to do?
Oh god, the cursed thing of trying to like squeeze out extra performance. Like what combination of YouTuber tricks we have to do to get more performance? Usually the answer is like just comes down to money, buying better hardware.
Exactly. Although on the plus side, one silver lining to all of this is one extra setting that the Nvidia app has added is now the ability, if you go, so I said before, if you go into DLSS override, model presets, and you click into that, and the bottom option, there's 3 options. Frame gen, which says unsupported because it's not in the game, without using this smooth thing. Ray reconstruction, which is also unsupported because Tarkov doesn't have ray tracing. And then there's the last one says super resolution, and you click on that, and it's got all the presets. Well, oh sorry, I'm on the wrong bit. Which one was I thinking of? Hold on. Wait, where was it? Hold on. It's somewhere else. Where has it gone? There is a section. Oh, maybe it's higher up actually. No, where is it? Where's it gone? I'll find it in a minute. But basically, you can. And again, I literally have lost this. I was using this yesterday. But anyway, you can now, so in Tarkov, right? So DLSS, if we just go back to talking about DLSS, because DLSS works really well. And we've talked previously about how it's better than the native anti-aliasing, which is TAA high, which just kind of looks awful. Like even if you're stationary, the whole screen's just flickering constantly with TAA high on. It's just awful. If you have DLSS on, yes, you're doing the upscaling from 66%, which is the best case, at least until now, which is quite like 66% for quality. It's quite low, actually. It's quite low res, right? Like the others are like 50 and like 40%. So it really doesn't cap out that high. But the screen stops dancing when you're stationary. It still flickers a bit when you move, but it stops dancing when you're stationary, which is nicer. Now they've added a setting, and I can't for the life of me find out where it is, but you can set in the Nvidia app now, you can set your DLSS quality, balance, whatever, in the Nvidia app, and there's a box called custom, and under custom you can set the res. So quality is 66%. You can, and there's DLAA as well, by the way, but for some reason DLAA doesn't work in Tarkov. I knew that was the case before when people were fiddling around with Nvidia Profile Inspector. You couldn't set DLAA on, and I did try it with the Nvidia app and it still doesn't work. So but you can get very, very close by putting DLSS on at 99%. So that gets you, it's like it's rendering near native and doing a 1% upscale, which is like nothing, right? So the picture's like almost exactly the same. And so you're using the DLSS anti-aliasing without using any of the upscaling. So you shouldn't have any artifacting or anything. Now, you're basically running this thing at native, so it is more intensive on the GPU, but a lot of people have GPU headroom. So, I think it depends on what you're doing, but you're quite incentivized, I think, if you're playing in native res, to use this sort of alternate version of DLAA, which is DLSS on 99% within the Nvidia app, which is quite good.
That's a clever trick.
I think for mine, if you're using DLDSR as well and like super sampling and then downscaling from there, it'll look even better. But it's depending on your system. Like even I will hit GPU bottlenecks doing that.
Yeah.
Because that really is another level, right? I'm like pushing the thing and rendering in 3840 by 2160, and then I'm not doing any upscaling.
2160.
So it's just I'm just rendering in. Yeah, so so if I do DLDSR and this like 99% DLAA thing, I'm just rendering it in 4K.
Yeah.
Which is like that's a lot.
Yeah.
That is actually a lot, and I will hit my GPU bottleneck on that.
Yeah.
And I will start to see my actual frame rate going down. But it's quite nice because you can sort of test it and you can sort of see where that happens, because the way that I've got DLDSR set up, it's literally a click of a button. That's another problem with the smooth motion thing. Any of these Nvidia app changes, even the 99% thing, you can't change it while the game's open. So every setting that you want to change, you have to close the game, change it in the Nvidia app, open the game again, which is a real pain in the ass to really test anything. It's so annoying. Whereas with DLDSR, you can literally just change the res. So you can just go, oh, what's my frame rate now? What's it now? Oh, it didn't change between these two. Okay, well I'm CPU banned again. So you can kind of like judge it a lot better with this because it's just so easy to test. So if you do want to push it really hard, you can do 2.25 times DLDSR and then put DLAA on effectively, the DLSS 99% thing. And that will, if you've got like a 5090, then you can make the game look absolutely beautiful. No upscaling. It's like 4K rendered down onto, that's rendered down onto a 4040p monitor. If you've got a 4K monitor, you could render it way higher than that, right? Because my native res is 2560 by 1440, but I'm actually rendering the game in like 3840 by 2160, DLSS notwithstanding. So if you've got a 4K monitor, you can render in like some crazy
8K,
like 8K, not quite 8, it's like 7K or some stupid thing.
Yeah.
And then crush that down, right? If you really do just have performance to spare, you're a super enthusiast and you've got one of these like uber powerful cards, it's an option, but at least it gives you somewhere to put the extra GPU usage. Tarkov doesn't use the GPU very well, and so DLDSR gives you somewhere to like at least get a performance, well, not a performance boost, a quality boost without hitting performance, which is always the reason why I've thought it was actually quite a good thing. And one very, very interesting thing that you find going from 1440p to the 4K, like the highest level of DLDSR that I could do, is you actually see the icon quality change because it uses a different like, I don't know, image, right? And like a lot of people have said this about like, oh well, what's better to use? Should you use DLAA or should you use super sampling in 4K and then downscaling it to your monitor. And there's a good point I've seen in quite a few places online. People being like, well, different games use different textures depending on what your res is. And if the game's being rendered in 4K, it'll be using the 4K like textures and models and assets, which it may not do at 1440p. So even if you're using DLAA, yeah, it'll look good, but you won't have those higher quality models and textures. And you can actually see a difference in the item quality, just of the just literally of the image between 1440p and 4K in the inventory.
Yeah.
You can already see it, which is quite interesting. Anyway, that was a very, 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 very long meandering tangent about all the myriad things that you can do with the Nvidia tech. I mean,
yeah, no,
I'm sorry if you're on AMD, but like it's just they're all kind of interrelated as well, which makes it extra complicated.
Yeah.
But I just wish smooth motion worked a bit better. I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm suspect that something's not going right on your end is my guess. But I don't know. I mean, it is kind of a hard. Like, I kind of went through that not too long ago. I was trying to. What was I trying to do for Deadlock? I can't remember. I was trying to just like verify I had like the G Sync and everything set up properly, because you can have it with like reflex. You can like have it set up wrong where you actually be better off like running the game uncapped FPS. Like I forget what the device is, but whatever. Like, to get like the best possible experience, lowest latency, and still have all the features and no tearing, you gotta like do a very particular setup. So I like went through that, and I was having some issues of like profile inspector to verify some settings and yada yada yada, because like full screen and borderless window, it's like it's like technically you want to be on full screen, and like that the game was like felt like it was on borderless even if full screen was yada yada. But anyways, so yeah, I feel your pain on that. And the only thing I'm playing with DLAA on Deadlock, and like I just can't go back.
Yeah.
Like DLAA plus like preset K, like if there's like not much going on, I hit my reflex refresh rate, which is like 138. But like once I get into like big team fights, it's like I don't know what it drops to, but it feels like it hits 60s occasionally. And like something with the new update might have messed with that, but regardless, it's like I could, cut some things back and save some GPU headroom, but like it looks so clean, it's just I don't know, it's like everything's got a certain pass over it that just makes it look sharp, crisp, and yeah, it's just I just can't go back.
Yeah, see, I wonder if there's a compromise to be made somewhere between DLAA and DLSS quality, because as I was saying before, like 66%, downscaling, or I guess upscaling, right? Rendering in 66% lower, well, not sorry, 34% lower, and then upscaling. That's quite a lot. But I was wondering if there's some, if you're using DLAA and you're like, oh, maybe I should get a little bit more performance, even changing it to like 90% if you're using the custom thing within the Nvidia app, changing that because now you can do that. And changing it to 90, it's like, well, will you actually see any artifacting? I don't even know. You might not. Like, I definitely find that when the more I combine these things together, the better it is. It's like, it's funny really, because like the more super sampling I'm using, the more information there is because it's rendering in 4K. So the lower DLSS setting I could use, actually, like quality looks like DLSS quality looks way better when I'm super sampling in 4K than it does when I'm using 4040p. Obviously, because I'm giving it more information. But it's like, it's kind of this balance. So you might even just try it at like 90 or something and say, oh, I'll just do the little 10% upscale, but I'll save on a bit of GPU headroom. That last 10%. It's quite a big screen area. You're cutting down on quite a lot of GPU usage, maybe. But no, I feel like maybe there's a compromise to be made between literally 66% versus 100. Like we're really going from, it's like, whoa, there's like a huge gap there. Like maybe put it at 80, see what happens. Maybe it's unnoticeably different to DLAA. I don't know.
I think there is technically within Nvidia's dev kit or whatever, like there is technically ultra quality, which is I think it's 75%. Someone might have to correct me, but even that's still kind of like a lot. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that like it's not commonly used. I can't remember. Maybe it's like a box they gotta like toggle on. I don't know. I really don't know. Couldn't tell you. But yeah, I wonder too what the like not price performance, but like how much screen, you know what I mean? Like how many pixels if you take away an upscale, what's the ratio of that for like GPU usage? You know what I mean? Because I
Mhm.
wonder if like at 90%, it's like, well, you're already using 95% of your GPU. You might as well just do DLA and be capped at 99. You know, I just
Mm.
wonder because you're still gonna get artifacts, presumably. I don't know. I just thought that would
Yeah.
be interesting. I'm sure some niche YouTube channels done all the legwork on that in a giant ass
Probably, yeah.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy. I literally just looked it up now, and it's like, quality is 66.6%, so
Hmm.
2/3 per axis. So that ends up coming out at like 45% of the total pixels versus 100.
Yeah.
It's like half. It's like rendering literally only half of the pixels you would otherwise. Which is like crazy. Like balanced with like 58% per axis is like 33% resolution. Like it's insane. It's like, wow, you're actually
Yeah.
really hardly making any pixels at all.
Hmm.
It's quite interesting. But yeah, because you have to turn it on and off every single time. I haven't tested with it in Tarkov yet, so I'm like, I haven't gone like, oh, this is what it looks like at DLAA 99. This is at 95. This is at 90. This is at 85. Because it takes an eternity because the game takes so long to like close and open. I've started just
Yeah.
because I'm in offline mode half the time, just looking at it, and it's actually just way quicker just to Alt F4 the game than it is to try and like, leave the raid,
Hmm.
exit the game. I've started literally just Alt F4ing it and just reopening it. So by far the easiest way. So anyway, this tech's cool. This is the fact that there's more
Oh
stuff
yeah.
coming. This is like the AI thing. This is the worst it's ever going to be. That's what they always say.
Hmm.
You know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll end up getting better. I mean, every game will probably end up having it inbuilt if they can, reduce the latency on this. I mean, it's difficult because of the way that it is designed. It's sort of fundamentally flawed, unlike DLSS. I don't really know. I need to follow. There's somebody sent me a link to a Blur Busters guide on like G-Sync and stuff. So
Yeah,
I
that's
need
what
to have
I
a look at
was
that as
looking
well.
at. That's
Yeah,
what I was
because I feel like
doing.
that's also part of the issue. I think it's like, yeah, capping your frames and do you have reflex on or off and VSync
Yeah.
and all of this stuff. And like, I think some people were just saying there's one guy in chat actually yesterday who was just like, oh, he was like, I just to have my monitor. I just don't have any. I turn all the G-Sync stuff off. I just have it like capped out, so it's always just running at 240 hertz,
Hmm.
and I just deal with the tearing because it's the refresh rate. Like, yeah, the tearing sucks at like 60 FPS, but if you're and they had a pretty beastly PC as well. And they're just like, well, if it tears, but like I'm running at like 180 FPS, like I don't even notice. I can't see it.
Mm.
Um, and that like makes it easier, so to speak, because you're not using any of these texts and having everything sync up. You're just like taking the downside, but you're just like whatever. So it's just GPU posts a picture when it wants. The monitor puts it up once every 240, 1/240, seconds, whatever. So I don't know. I'll have to look at it again and figure it out. I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of AI, though.
Okay, I was gonna
Speaking of
ask.
AI,
That's the burning question for me.
have you listened? Have you listened to the Ballad of Tarkov?
I only partially.
Yeah, me and my wife we actually went to a kind of like a sort of kids sort of play date, like sort of pizza party thing. It's sort of like a parents thing
Yeah.
in the afternoon. And one of the parents there were like, oh, we've been like making just like fun songs for their kids or whatever. And my wife was talking to them, and he was like showing her how to do it, and it's using this app, which probably a lot of people have heard of, called Suno AI. And like, I remember looking at AI generated music a long time ago,
Hmm.
and it wasn't very good. Like a lot of this stuff was, right? It's just like
Yeah.
the musical equivalent of like Will Smith eating the spaghetti kind of deal. um, but then, I wasn't really paying attention actually, and she was like having to play around with it, and I was just like doing my content stuff as usual. And I came down after work, and she was just like, "Oh, like I've been playing around with this thing all day. Like have a listen to these songs." And she like made a bunch of songs like for the kids, and it was just like you can incorporate like whatever elements you want. They can say, "Oh, we want a song about this, we want a song about that," and then like we'll just make it in like whatever style. There's basically the way it works is quite straightforward. There's two entry prompts pretty much. One is the lyrics if you want lyrics, if you want singing, and the second is the style prompt. And between those two things, you can and kind of make anything. But the quality, like I was honestly astounded when she showed it to me. I was just like, this is actually crazy, because I've been using ChatGPT 5 and 4.0 images for a bit. Here and there, like sometimes they're useful. I don't use it that much, but I use it occasionally. And that thing, it takes a good while to make a picture.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I was just like, I can't believe that this thing is so quick. Like, this is honestly insane. Like the slowest part of the process, because she was using, apparently this thing can make lyrics too, but she was using ChatGPT to just do like fun lyrics. And the slowest part of the process was literally copying and pasting it on a mobile phone from ChatGPT into this Suno thing. I was shocked. And like, once you put the prompts in, it makes you like 2 versions as well, and it does it in like 5 seconds. I was like, this is bonkers. I was like, I can't believe how quick this is. It's outrageously fast, and it's free as well. You make like 10 songs a day, without even paying anything. Like it's insane. I mean, this is probably a user acquisition deal, like most of these sort of startup-y sort of AI things are, because this stuff clearly isn't free to run. Right? They take a lot of power. There's a lot of compute power behind it. But anyway, yeah. So we were like messing around with it, and I can't remember why I had an idea about doing a. And I think she might have even said like, "Oh, you should do like a funny Tarkov thing, just like see what it does. Just like make a song about Tarkov." So I was like, "Okay." So I was like, had to play around with it, and I made like a few like random test ones. I was like, I don't think it's not really like, it's not very good really. And then I was like fiddling around with the lyrics, because like the lyrics are like very generic, right? The ones that they produce in the first place, especially for like a niche game like EFT. It's like, yeah, it gets sort of the idea behind it, but like it's not like, it doesn't get like the in jokes and stuff. Like it's not on that level. It hasn't been trained enough on enough EFT stuff to know about all of those things that we talk about, right, in within the community. And so I changed a lot. I mean, I basically ended up like rewriting half the lyrics to make them funny, and then I generated one through with this kind of like, I can't remember what I said. It was like, sort of Eastern European like style, kind of like traditional, almost like a traditional tune type thing, but like in a comedy type deal, something like that with the prompt. And this appeared, and I was just like, oh my god, this thing is an actual, like the style that it did it in. I was like, this is an actual banger. Like this is actually really good. And my wife was like, this is really good. You should post it somewhere. I was like, oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure we're gonna put it up today. And she was like, oh, you should put it, because I'd been basically playing around on this like second channel, which is the one that it's on, which was originally called, like, I think I showed you actually ages ago, which was it was called like gaming ambient music or something, like ambient beats, whatever. I was just like messing around with stuff, and I like video game music and that kind of thing, and some of it was literally just about like archiving stuff, or just like background ambient things that I thought people might like. The one that's got the most views on here was the labs one. It's literally just like half an hour of just like ambient labs, just the sound effects from just sitting in labs, which is kind of just like a random side project. So I was like, okay, I don't want to put it on the main channel, but I'll put it over here and see if people like it. And I mean, it's getting good reception so far. I mean, obviously there's people being like, the AI music stuff, it's like a bit, but that's it is a tricky conversation. But the deal is, and it's like, if it didn't exist, like this would never have been made. And also something interesting as well. I tried to change something in the song originally. I was like, oh, I'm going to change, like, I had like one final lyric tweak to do, and I was like, well, I'll just make another version. But the prompt that you give it, it can make any manner of music really out of it. Like it's got quite a wide selection of things, and the variability is like quite wide. And I could not get it to make the same quality of, like, it's got like the voice has like got comedic timing, and like the accent as well, like the very slight accent and stuff. It just would not do it. I made like 30 other versions, and none of them were the same. They just weren't right. They just weren't of the same quality. And I was like, okay, so I ended up like delving into the system, like pseudo trying to, like, I had to change some specific pieces, like do like a lyric overwrite thing, and like rerun that a few times to make it actually fit, so it actually worked properly. Because I ended up having to edit what I had rather than like make something new, because it literally, I was like, oh, maybe this one was special, because like none of the others sounded very good. So in the end, I did post it. But yeah, people are enjoying it. But yeah, there's like, it's a tricky one, right? Because I think I think these guys anyway, so, are going through some lawsuit with, the Music Association of America. Like, these vested interests are always taking people to court over literally anything.
Yeah.
The reason why YouTube has its content ID system in the first place, which, fair enough, right? Fair enough as well. The artists should get paid for their work. So, they are aggressive. the music agencies, they are very, very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But fair enough. But like, it's one of those things, they're in court with them saying, well, it's copyright infringement. It's just like, well, copyright has to have sampling and da, da, da. So we'll see where it ends up. I don't really know, but it's interesting. It's one of those things where it's like, well, if it's a tool for people to use, you'll get stuff that's created like this, which just genuinely wouldn't exist otherwise. Like, I don't have the ability to create an Eastern European traditional style piece of music. Like, I've not done much music content, but like, I am musical, but like, I don't do that much production or anything really. I've done some very basic stuff, but to have the ability to create something of any genre, it's like really powerful. So I don't know. There's pros and cons to it. It was certainly an interesting experiment. Like, I might play around and do a few more if I think of some other funny themes or whatever, because people are kind of enjoying it. So it's a tricky one, right? It's like, as I was saying, like, it literally wouldn't exist otherwise. It's not like, in this particular instance, it's not like it's taking away anything from anyone, because it was a random fun side project that just wouldn't have happened if it wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's actually sort of a net positive if that's sort of the way that I'm seeing it. I know people they have different takes on it, and I can certainly sympathize with the other sides of AI generated music and stuff. But there's also the practicality that, like, it's here now, and it's the same for images, video creation, music, whatever. Like, you can't really put the lid back on the box. So it's about management of what it is now, rather than getting. It's not going to go away. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's interesting. It certainly is interesting. What I thought was just going to be a fun, make a little ditty, and it's the full delve down into just like copyright problems and fair rights for artists and all this stuff. It gets very complicated very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general like criticism I see, particularly of generative AI, which even that I feel like is kind of a little bit nebulous to define in some aspects. Like, do you consider FrameGen generative AI? I mean, kind of, yeah, but I mean, it's not practically the same thing. But anyways, is that for these companies, like, they just like scrape data, and like, the machine must be fed; it's always hungry, and you don't, I don't think they prioritize getting consent from the artists. So it feels like a bit like you're, screwing over all the artists and people who like do these things. And yeah, you have like a really cool tool, but like, I don't know. It's just there's something there that like doesn't really sit well with people. Also with me, like, I just that's kind of the. But like, I hear it's like you on your own, you wouldn't be able to do this thing, and like, I listened to it, like, I was impressed by the, like, I didn't know if it was generative or not, and which I think feels like kind of scary because it sounds really good.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it sounds very believable.
Yeah.
But everything I think about, I'm like, does Giga have a background in like Eastern European music? Has he got like all of his like boys got together and like did this? Probably not, But yeah, I don't know.
That's the tricky part about the whole thing, because it's like, in my particular case, sure, it's probably like, I do think it is no harm done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's part of the bigger piece where, well, there are certainly probably cases where people would have paid an artist to do a thing, but now they aren't going to. That's not the case in my case. Like, I wouldn't have paid somebody to make this otherwise, but there definitely will be cases where somebody would have, for other things, whatever it may be, either something commercial or even fan stuff. So it's sort of part of the bigger whole.
Yeah.
But again, as I said a minute ago, right? Like, this is the worst it's ever going to be, and it's already hard to tell.
Yeah.
And it's I don't see it going away, practically speaking.
Yeah.
This stuff isn't going away. It's only going to get more and more used and become better. And yeah, it's dealing with the impact of that, which is hard, right? So if you're a musician and you make music for a living, and but for somebody you can literally make like 60 songs in like 30 seconds with this thing now, which is like it's insane. It's actually just insane.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't think people have said this about. I don't know enough about it actually fully on this basis, but a lot of people have said that, and I think this is broadly true, that most like AIs, large language type models, neural nets in some sense, they're very good at interpolation, but not very good at extrapolation. So anything within the data set, obviously you can kind of make anything, and it has enough data, so it can really be quite nuanced about it and make something cool like this. But trying to do something that's like outside of its data set, that's just not really the way they work.
Mm-hmm.
So there still will be space for people to do like novel things, but the question is how much more novelty is there in music, for example? Like artists are all inspired by each other in the first place. People kind of copy each other, go around in loops. Like how much differentiation can you have? You have to have something that really is unique. It's like all the people in the middle and lower, it's like a kind of cut out. Yeah, it's so strange. It's very scary for people who rely on that as their living, for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's also just weird how like right now it's at this level and it's free. Like I just feel like eventually it's gonna be so advanced at some point for something that it's not going to be like there's going to be some type of cost, like there probably already is a cost associated with it, and maybe the cost is creatives paying that up front. Now maybe it's like when you use it you have to like fork over some of your data. I don't really know the details and specifics, but I'm sure eventually this stuff's going to get so big to a point. I mean there's basically an arms race for it now. That like it's going to be some big corporation's gonna be the it's like we got like Amazon, Nvidia, you know. Did you see that? This is a little off topic. Did you see that Intel's kind of like they like cut back on God, I can't remember, but like they're not doing so hot in the economy, and like with their financially speaking, I think, and they decided I think they cut like they made like big cuts on research and development or something. And yeah, that's like probably not good for competition. Particularly for both AMD and Nvidia. In terms of the consumer anyways. Like, I'm sure like AMD's I don't know, maybe they do want competition. Anyways. There's
Intel's been having a hard time.
Stuff like this is like just never really super cut and dry. I wish things were black and white, but it is just kind of we live in a real world, but it's I don't know.
Dude, it's actually crazy like how concentrated this stuff has gotten. Like Nvidia just posted their earnings yesterday, which is like it's crazy because they're so big now. It's like north of 4 trillion.
Yeah,
like their like earnings announcement is like more important than like the Fed rate change. It like moves stuff so much. But it's like some of the numbers are actually astounding. It's like Nvidia's what was it? I think so it was Nvidia's top 2 customers made up 39% of their revenue.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. And I'm pretty sure the first one was Microsoft. I think it was like 20 it's like 21% or something. I can't remember who the second one was, but I mean they didn't release it, but like it's kind of obvious I think that it's Microsoft. But I mean that's like it's astounding. It's astounding that like you can have a company that's that big and like nearly 40% of their revenues, like literally 2 other giants. Like it's crazy how like concentrated this stuff has got.
Yeah,
it's really, really insane. Us gamers were hanging on to the coattails. Like, please, can you make smooth motion work, please? Please, Jensen, please, just give us a crumb. Oh, anyway, yeah. So that's that. But anyway, no, it was fun to do. It was fun to do the little song, but hey, you can have your Tarkov parody song at the expense of selling your soul to the great AI that's going to scoop us all in. So, there you go. Is it the trade-off that you got to make?
Skynet's real, I'm telling you.
Times are changing indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
Well,
Well, yeah.
I think that's pretty much everything for this week. I mean, light week. I really didn't have much to talk about personally. Just kind of, hanging in there, going with the flow type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's one of those things. I mean, I've spoken to a few people just about this wipe and about content being hard.
Yeah.
This wipe, a lot of people are struggling. I raided Jesse the other day and I was just like, man, like, what are we going to talk about? And it's he was like, dude, have you seen my YouTube? I've literally posted like one video in a whole month kind of thing. It's like,
Man, isn't this crazy? Like, can we talk about that for a second? Like, how does the hardcore wipe actually just like kill content creators? Like, how is that a thing?
yeah, it's just like it's really shattered the economy for content creators. Definitely, I think it's because I
Like, is it
literally think it's
because
a
the
player count
game is
problem.
like not non-linear anymore, or like a lot significantly less non-linear? Or you think it's mostly a player interest?
I think it's missing player interest. I think that as a content creator, you're kind of appealing to the common denominator.
Yeah,
So your hardcores are always going to play. But if
for
like
sure.
the bottom 50% of the player base is not engaged and is not playing at all, they like won't even watch. They just won't watch the content. They're just not in that zone. They're playing something else or doing other things. And so it's just like, it's just hit everybody really hard. Like, for example, like I have people coming in being like, "Oh, can you post the level 4 traders guide?" And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if it's a good use of time because I posted like the level 3 traders guide, and that's like the worst performing video I've done in ages.
Man, that
Because like, how many
sucks.
people are level 30? Like nobody. It's literally got like 10k views.
Yeah.
It's like it's like way lower than like most of the others. And I'm just like, dude, if I post a level 4 traders guide, no one's gonna watch it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, some people will, obviously,
of
but like
course.
as a creator, you're thinking like, well, how can I appeal to like the most people with my content? And usually, I'm like timing it so like sort of ahead of 80% of people. So like as I'm posting something, it's like becoming relevant to like the majority. Because you have to think that way in some ways if you're monetizing your content and it's like your primary income source. So it's it's just it's really hard. Like it's really hard. This wipe. It's
Yeah.
not a good wipe for content at all, and nothing really changed either. Like it was hardcore stuff, so everything's really super tough. But it's not like any core mechanics changed. Like how much can you talk about not being able to put meds in the secure container? Like, there's not really much to say. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just a thing.
There
That's just
wasn't
it.
there wasn't any new content. There was just less content. Now you can't put stuff in your container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And less players. So that's the end of it. I mean, I know Nikita said, "Oh, there's more players, or whatever." Maybe they had more in the actual wipe, but like I think it's pretty clear that from 2 weeks and onwards, there's a lot less people. There's less people viewing as well. You can look on Twitch tracker, and there's less people viewing.
Yeah.
And various polls done by people, a significant portion of the people who would normally be playing are just not playing.
Yeah.
Or they played like 2 days or something, and were just like, this wipe's not for me. The 1.0 is coming. I think also 1.0 coming probably doesn't help.
either. Yeah, for sure. Because like now
Because there's
you
a lot
got
of
the
people who
cards
like do a
stacked
wipe and
against
then
you.
they don't do a wipe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
So it's
this is
just
like
like,
the
oh
perfect
man, like
wipe
I'll
to
take a
skip
break.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. The really, really hard one that's going to bust your balls. I'll just leave that one and I'll turn back up for 1.0,
Yeah.
with all the actual stuff. And there's not even anything new or interesting in this one other than just breaking your balls. So
Just wait till 1.0 comes out.
Yeah. But at least there'll be content. There'll be something new there to try.
Oh, of
Whereas
course,
in this one,
yeah.
it's just like,
For
try the
sure.
same stuff, except just like whilst getting smashed over the head with a brick.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, people aren't that interested.
We'll see. I mean,
So
yeah. Maybe next
yeah.
week we'll talk about like realistic expectations. Like what do we expect to see 1.0?
Mm.
I mean, I got a few.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I won't list off anything
Yeah,
yet, but
we'll have to have a think.
yeah.
For sure.
All
Yep.
right. I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for tuning in as always, and we'll see you all next week.
Catch you later.